Choosing a light fixture for a room can either make or break your room. Either you've got one that's too big or too small, and it just throws the room off. Well, if you need a formula to figure out the right fixture to choose, we've got the expert that can help you. Christy Barnett is the Decorologist, and you say this is one of the questions that people ask you more than just about anything.
Yes, it's very difficult for people to figure out what size fixture they need for their room. And so I have a rule of thumb that's been very helpful, and that is to look at the length and the width of the room that you're talking about and say it's 12 feet by 12 feet. So you just add those two numbers together, and that would be the minimum number of inches that you want the width of your fixture to be. So that would be 24 inches or larger for your fixture in that room.
Well, that's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Okay, but what if you have an open concept room like this beautiful home that we're standing in? There's so many different spaces. How do you figure it out?
Well, because so many of our homes are now open concept, you want a look that's not too matchy-matchy, that's a little bit more interesting, but everything that kind of flows together. So I recommend starting with the most important fixture to you. So for example, in this kitchen, we chose the two lights above the island as our most important feature.
These are gorgeous.
Thank you. Well, they're really great. They're very large, right? Probably larger than most people would think to use, but they look great in here because they're clear glass. It's kind of a bubble glass. And so there's not as much visual weight as if it were with a shade.
And it's over something else too, so it, it doesn't feel like it's getting in the way.
Absolutely. So because this has a darkened kind of iron finish, we wanted to repeat that in some of the other fixtures in the space.
Okay.
So the next fixture that we chose is the orb in the middle of the living room, which is open to the kitchen. So we chose something that had kind of a similar shape to the pendants in the kitchen, and then, but it's a little bit different. And it has the dark metal, but it also incorporates the wood banding, which is also in the beams of the living room.
So they kind of blend together, but they're not matchy-matchy.
Exactly.
All right, so going back to the little breakfast area here, you've kind of incorporated the best of both.
That's right. So we have some round fixtures here, and we wanted to do something a little bit different to make it interesting. So we set it apart by just choosing a different style. So it's a candelabra style fixture, but it still has that darkened finish so that it blends nicely, but it's just a little different look for the eating area.
Now, some people might look at this and say, wow, that's too big for this space.
Very
Why
big.
does this work?
This works because it has a table beneath it. All of these fixtures in this room have some kind of table beneath it, and obviously you couldn't put fixtures this large if you had to walk beneath them.
Sure.
So you can go a little bigger if you have something beneath the fixture.
In the music room, there's another beautiful chandelier there. Tell me about that one.
Well, that one's a little smaller because the space is smaller, but we also wanted it to flow from this space into there because you can see both areas at the same time. So that one is a drum shape. So it's kind of circular. It has the dark metal finish, but it's distinctly different than the other fixtures in the space.
And I really like the fixture that you've chosen for the entry, too. It's just so unusual.
Well, that one was a little bit of a wild card. We chose something in a metallic kind of galvanized metal, but again, it's kind of a drum shape. So we're still kind of keeping within our theme, but it's a little something special when you walk in the door. It kind of sets the vibe for the whole place.
So all of these fixtures are very different from each other, and yet there are things that unify each one so that they all look cohesive in the space. Great ideas.
Thank you.
All right. You can find out more about Christy at her website. It's thedecorologist.com. She has a great blog, too, that you'll want to follow because I get lots of great decorating ideas from you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Meryl.